What do you think? Yay! Yes, snack cam. Oh, and it's about time to start. Excellent. So there we go. Yay! Welcome, Bay Area Kei, to snacks. The snack cam will be back. I also have a stove cam. So yeah, good evening. Snacks. Hello. Snack, snack, snack. All right. So good evening and welcome to Savory Snacks for Socializing at Garnet Gâteau. Thank you so much to Bay Area Kei for hosting. Don't forget to enter the charity drawing for the Transgender Law Center for a chance at fabulous prizes donated by the participating brands. There is some really cool stuff to win, and I hope I do. Um, Yay! Oh, I'm glad you're back. Okay, so my name is Elia. My pronouns are they, them. I have been wearing J fashion for over a decade. I currently wear mostly classic and gothic Lolita with occasional forays into OG and sweet and visual K. I have a small accessories brand called Dimensions by Elyachan, which is kind of on unofficial hiatus right now. And tonight I am wearing a lovely Maxissimum Wonder Pocket Watch jumper skirt and a lady sloth blouse and a head bow that I made and a uh, little truffle clip thing that a friend of mine made. Caddy, if you're here, this is one of yours. All right. There we go. All right. I am based in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I've met other J fashion enthusiasts. Thank you. At conventions here and in nearby states. And one of the first meetups our small local community did was at a marvelous local treasure called St. James Tea Room. And I've been in love with the format of afternoon tea ever since. And of course, because of COVID, we haven't been able to go out to tea. So I have been having fun putting together my own tea services for myself for these fantastic online tea parties and social things that we've been having. So in this panel today, we will be making a couple of yummy things. We're going to start with a curry-filled pastry with some delicious spices. While our pastry is baking, we will make some tea sandwiches topped with prosciutto roses. We will then, once we've got those done, we'll actually put together a three-tiered tea tray with savories, breads, and sweets. I'll talk about some of the things that you can add to your snacks. You can find at the grocery store or whatever. We'll talk about preparing in advance and reheating on the day of the event. And of course, then we'll talk about what to do with your leftovers, because unless you've got actually a house full of people, you will end up be making more than you can eat yourself in a day. Well, curry and prosciutto. And I will try and respond to questions as we go. I can see the chat unless I'm actually like staring at the stove. So let's get to it. All right. So we are going to start with our curry puffs. So these can be baking while we make our tea sandwiches. Let me post the link in the chat. There we go. That was on the event page as well, but now it's handy for you. And so we're going to use half of that recipe because it makes a lot. So we've got vegetable oil. We've got Got half an onion or a shallot, and I used a shallot. Let's see. Let's do. Oh, yeah, there we go. Shallot already chopped up because that thing is loud. And I've got also chopped in there with that. I've got actually 2 little cloves of garlic because never have too much garlic. I mean, you can, but it's difficult. And then we're going to use some ground beef, and also I chopped up so that I've got both. Come here. Kind of doing half veggie on this. I've also got some chopped up sweet potatoes. There we go. Come here. Yeah, good enough. All right. So I have a sweet potato that I've also infinite garlic that I've chopped up also nice and fine. One of the most useful things is a tiny little chopper like this. Makes it so much easier, especially when you're doing onions. No such thing as too much garlic, yes. Okay, and then we've got our spices. So we've got curry powder, turmeric powder, cumin. We're actually going to use just a tiny bit of sugar. So I've got my brown sugar out here and some oh, that did interesting things. Hang on. Scroll the right part of the screen. There we go. Okay. So black pepper, a little bit of salt, and then we're going to have handy some cornstarch and some broth. To make a slurry to thicken up the curry sauce when it comes to that time. And then 1 sheet of ready to bake puff pastry, which I will take out of the fridge where it has been defrosting or thawing, and an egg, which again I'll take out of the fridge when we get to that point. So I'm gonna turn that up, turn that on. And let's see here. Stove cam. Haha, there we go. So stove is on. Pour a little bit of about 1.5 tablespoons of the oil into the pan there. Let that heat up for a moment. And then I'm going to cook the onions. Start with cooking the onions. Do, do. There we go. Thank you for the follow. Pan cam. All right, so that is That is heating up. That'll take a moment or two. Ta-da! And while that's going, I'm going to go ahead and get my beef ready to go here. About that much, yeah. Here we go. Rest of that back in the freezer. Wash my hands after handling meat, like you do. Ah, and that is getting its sizzle on. Look at that. There we go. So again, we've got a little bit of oil in the pan. We've got shallots and garlic to start out. I'm actually going to go ahead and put in the sweet potato as well. That takes a little bit to, that'll take a little bit to kind of get going. So we have shallots and garlic and sweet potato getting their sizzle on in the pan. Turn that up just a skosh. Sizzle. All right, so we're just letting that sizzle. All right. While that's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and measure out my spices. Did you sub the sweet potato for white potato? Yes, I did sweet potato to give it, because it does have a slightly different texture, so you might want to use, like, you would probably want to use like a, not a very starchy potato. I'm not sure what a good variety to recommend would be, or like carrots actually would be really good, or chopped up mushrooms or something. You want something to have, just to give it that, basically give it something for the curry to latch on to. That's kind of what we're doing here. So I'm going to go ahead and measure out my spices. And for that, I'm going to go ahead and after all that, I didn't do all my K. Aha, there we go. So we're going to start with some curry, with the focus, which is the curry powder. I really like the Penzeys curry. It is very tasty. Also is good on the spicy department as well. So again, we're doing about half of the recipe from the page. Oh, 1 tablespoon. So we're going to do 3 of these little teaspoons. Very generous teaspoons. There we go. And then, yes, Penzeys. And then we're going to do 3/4 of a teaspoon of turmeric powder. Again, I'm being generous. And then 1/4 of a teaspoon of cumin powder. So just about that much. Just a little bit of sugar. I'm liking the brown sugar for just to give it that little depth to the sweetness. And a little bit of black pepper. Why do I even have that on there? This is the, there we go. Black pepper. Would this work with curry paste in place of curry powder? Yeah, so what we're kind of doing is making a curry paste. So if you've already got a curry paste already pre-made up, then actually this would be somewhat simpler. Let's check on our, there we go. All right. So as you can see on our stove cam, our shallots and garlic and sweet potato are starting to get nice and just a little bit caramelized there. So I'm going to go ahead and add the meat. I'm just going to break that up with a spatula as we go. Brown that up really nicely. And you can probably hear the sizzle in the microphone. Oh yeah, good sizzle. So we're just breaking that up as it browns. There we go. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Oh, that's going to be lovely. Okay. Oh, and we still need a little bit of, our last thing that we're going to put in here is a little bit of salt. Half a teaspoon of salt. Sizzle ASMR, yes. Okay, so that is nice and browned. Now we're going to add all of our spices. All of our spices. Come on, get out of there. This is the point where the kitchen starts to smell really amazing. All right. Stir that all up so that gets good, and again, the whole point of this is the spices. We're making sure that all of these spices get on all of this stuff that we've just fried up. There we go. Scrape the sides of the pan, get all that good stuff. You can tell there's turmeric in that because it's turning my spatula yellow. Turn that down a skosh, turn that back down to about a medium, and letting that cook for, well, that cooks for a couple more minutes. We're going to make our slurry with the broth and the cornstarch. And so we're going to do about 1/3 of a cup. Clean your snack can. Do about 1/3 of a cup of the broth. Oh, that's good enough. And 1/2 tablespoon of cornstarch. I have an actual 1/2 tablespoon. Nope. Well, okay, so that'll be 1/3 and about, there we go. There we go. That comes out to about 1/2. Stir that up. There we go. So now we've got a nice slurry that we're going to use to thicken up our curry mixture and give it basically turn it into a sauce. Bring that over here. And we get more of that lovely sizzling sound. Again, stir that up and look at that bubbly goodness. That's going to thicken up fairly quickly here. So you see, that's what actually turns it into a sauce. So if you're starting with if you have a curry paste, you can kind of skip the measuring out of spices and the cornstarch slurry because that is already kind of taken care of. But we have just made ourselves a really lovely curry sauce. There we go. And I'm actually going to go ahead and turn off the burner, let that sit for a moment. Rinse some things because we're going to use that. Okay, and now, yeah, more sizzle. And now, while that kind of cools down a bit, go ahead and take that off the burner. And there we go. And now we are going to get our puff pastry. What I have today is the Pepperidge Farm puff pastry sheets. apparently the Trader Joe's puff pastry is I found out is seasonal. But your regular grocery store like a Smith's or whatever, or Kroger's or Albertsons, or I don't know what, whatever you have where you are, tends to carry the Pepperidge Farm year round. So we're trying that. So I had a sheet in the fridge defrosting. And we're going to kind of roll that out there. Here we go. And so that's cooling off, and while that's cooling, we're going to cut some shapes into this. Now you can cut it in squares or triangles, or what I'm going to do. No, I don't need that. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a cookie cutter. Actually going to move snack cam so that my hand is not as much in the way. You'd think I would learn to set this up so that my right-handedness is not. Okay, here we go. So we're going to cut out some cute little heart shapes because this actually worked really well. Here we go. Just trying to get as many out of the sheet as we can, and then the rest the scraps I'll just bake up. They make good accents on things. All right. It's going to get a bunch of little heart shapes. Do. Now would also be a good time to turn on the oven. And the oven is going to go on to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 200 degrees Celsius, according to my nice little conversion chart here. So 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Get that oven warming up. And get one last one out of there. Sure. There we go. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got enough to make 6 hearts. I am going to put the rest of this dough back in the fridge and use it later to top some mini pies or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. All right. So Next, we're going to start filling these guys. So I got a spoon. Move all my spices out of the way. There we go. A spoon and a fork. And a baking sheet with a piece of parchment paper on it. And that's what we'll put those on. All right. So we're going to start by spooning a little bit of this mixture into the middle of each of a heart pastry, piece of pastry here, and cover it with another piece of pastry. There was a step I forgot. Step I forgot was to make these actually stay together nicely. We're going to put a little bit of water around the edges. Okay, that's better. Puff those down, and then press around the edges with the fork, which not only makes it look cute, but also seals the edges nicely. There we go. And there's one. Okay, so base, brush some water around the edges. They turn out really cute, and they look really neat when they're done too. You'll see. There we go. And press down the edges. Crimp it with the fork. Do, do, do. There we go. And there's that one. Edges. Filling. Top. Press. Crimp. Do this so you actually see the pastry and not my hands. Base. Water on the edges. All right. I think what I'm going to go ahead and do so that we don't run out of time is I'm going to finish this one, and then we're going to go put these, do our egg wash, and then put these in the oven, and I'll do the rest up later. So the other thing, so if you don't want to bake these right now, what you can do is assemble them in advance up to putting the egg wash on, and then you freeze them as is at that point, and you can just take them directly from the freezer to a nice preheated oven. Come on. Also, I can tell my dough is starting to get warm and therefore not as easy to work with. So yeah, it's time to put the rest of these guys back in the fridge. All right, so there we go. One last one for now. Get something to put these in to save them for later. Set this aside for later, and the beeping means that my oven is preheated. Actually, this can go. That can go there for now. Yes, that can go there for now. All right, let's get our egg and do our egg wash. Egg wash is super easy. It's an egg and a little bit of water. And just whip that up. There we go. And you could brush it on there with, try drizzling it on there with the like with the whisk, but if you have a pastry brush, I have this really nice silicone pastry, but don't go baking my heart. But they've got to bake them; they won't be edible otherwise. Food safety, folks. Food safety. All right, so we're going to brush a little bit of this egg wash on here. And what this will do is it'll give it that nice golden brown, glossy, delicious looking finish. There we go. Brush those. Brush, brush. I couldn't if I tried. Yes. Food-based puns. Heck yes. All right. And again, I'm going to do more with this later. Use that up later. So just put that in the fridge for now. Okay, so we are ready to put our delicious heart-shaped pastry puffs with delicious curry in the oven. Yay! And in they go. I am gonna give the timer about 20 minutes, and that's going. And so while those are doing their thing, let me get a clean up my surface here. And we'll make some tea sandwiches. All right. Sandwich time. Here we go, tea sandwiches. Okay, so what we have here, this is actually very simple and but ends up looking really pretty. So we're going to start with some bread. I get this at Smith's. They call it English toasted bread or English toasting bread. Works very nicely for tea sandwiches. It has somewhat thin slices and a really neat texture that lends itself very nicely. Bread. Yay. Lends itself very nicely to this kind of thing. And then we have prosciutto. In the fancy part of the deli section. And it is expensive, but it is very flavorful, and a little bit goes a long way in terms of the flavor. So I find it definitely worth it. I'm just going to cut open the package so I can actually get to this. Yay. Drink some of my tea that I poured half an hour ago. Expensive but delicious, yes. And next on the list is basil. So what we're going to do is kind of find some nice large leaves in here. You may notice in the picture I had of the ingredients, those are actually spinach leaves because I attempted to grow basil from one of those cute little live herb things that you can get at the store, and it did not work terribly well. It's kind of surviving. I haven't completely killed it yet, but it's not producing leaves of the size that would actually work on these sandwiches, so I got a thing of basil from that somebody had already grown much more successfully than I had. So there's that, and then the recipe calls for spreadable goat cheese, but really any soft spreadable cheese will work. So I have mascarpone because I found it, which is fancy, but I found it on sale. So cream cheese also would work very nicely, and I've done it with that before. And then honey. And so we're gonna switch to snack can. There we go. All right. So the first thing we're gonna do is make our prosciutto roses. This is the fun part. Yay, thank you for following. You're gonna take We are going to take a slice of prosciutto, the garden that I'm, oh, yay! Yeah, when you can get it going and get it like in an environment that is conducive to it, basil will just go like wildfire. I live in the desert Southwest. I live in the high desert, so it doesn't work quite as well here. It needs a bit more focus and care. Okay, so folding the prosciutto in half lengthwise, and then we're going to kind of twist it and kind of roll it in on itself. And it makes that there. It makes a rose. So we'll do a few more of those. Again. Meat flour, yes. Fold it in half. Give it a little bit of a twist. And then roll it in on itself. I'm not sure what would have a similar texture to be able to do this veggie. If somebody's got ideas on that, I would love to hear that. Salami. Salami would work. Would not be veggie, but would also be. Just give me a bouquet of those. Mm-hmm. Yes. So fold it in half. Thinly sliced zucchini or eggplant. That might work. That might work. Meat rose. Meat flour. And we'll do one more. Come here. It came apart. There we go. Fake salami. Ooh. Do they make fake lunch meats that have the kind of texture that that would be neat. A really thinly sliced cucumber long ways. That might work actually, yeah. It might be worth trying. Anyway, one more meat flour there. Do. Okay, and then we're gonna get they make faux meat slice, but it's a little crumbly. So yeah, I think like a very thinly sliced, like an English cucumber, because it has the less seeds going on, or eggplant or something might work for a veggie version of this. All right, we're going to combine some cheese and some honey. In about equal parts. So about a tablespoon of each. Drizzle, drizzle. There we go. And just smush that up together real good. And we won't use all of this quite on the sandwiches, but this is really good also then on like bagels later or to make more sandwiches later. There we go. That's it's nice and mixed. Okay, and now we're going to cut our bread into some circles to make this nice and small and pretty. And so this is a set of cookie cutters that is a bunch of different sizes of circles, and is a really good thing to kind of invest in and have in your kitchen equipment. All right, so this one will give us, that one should give us 2 circles out of each slice of bread. And cutting the circles beforehand works a lot better than trying to cut them afterwards. It kind of depends on what you're doing, because like for this, cutting them beforehand works really well. For the star cookie cutters that I was using the last time, it actually worked much better to cut them after I had assembled the sandwiches. There we go. 1, 2. Really? That didn't actually get sliced in the middle of it. Good job, Smiths. Their bread slicer was having an off day. It's okay, we still love them. That'll make really good French toast later or something. I don't know. All right, let's try this again. Hey, there we go. 3. And these scraps I'm gonna save and turn into a, put them in a, make a bread pudding later probably. There we go. All right. And we're also going to cut circles out of our basil leaves. Sort of. We're going to attempt to cut circles out of our basil leaves. How about that? There, kind of. Eh. I think this may work better on, get a different cutting surface. Try this on an actual wooden board and see if this does any better. Nope. It kind of gives us the shape. I mean, we can tuck edges in, so. There we go. Yeah. And those little scraps of basil are going to go really nicely in a salad. Okay. We have our roses assembled. We have our bread and our basil cut into circles. And we have our cheese and honey combined. And so now, from the bottom up, this goes bread, cheese, basil, cheese, bread, cheese, and meat flour. About how much cheese? Just like, I don't know, about that much. Basically, you just want to kind of cover the piece of bread. So bread, cheese, basil, cheese, bread, a little more cheese on the top to hold our meat flour in place. A happy dollop. Yes, that's a good way to put it. So there we go. Doot. Haha. So bread, cheese, basil, cheese, bread, cheese, meat flour. Ta-da. Bread, cheese, basil, cheese, bread, cheese, prosciutto. Well, and one more. These go together fairly quickly once you have all your ingredients assembled. Bread, cheese, basil. Tuck that in there. Cheese, bread, cheese, and flour. So there we have our sandwiches. And we've got about 2 minutes left on the timer on the oven. That worked out fairly well. Yay. And we have, what do we have left? Let's start it at, so half an hour left? Am I remembering that right? Okay. Yes, okay, we do. Awesome. All right, I am going to wash the sticky cheese off my hands. How are these looking? Oh, yeah. I think these are about done. Look at those. Go ahead and stop that. And, I mean, the parchment on the tray looks a mess, but we have, welcome, we have just taken our curry puffs out of the oven, and they look delightful. All right, so we're gonna let those kind of chill there for a moment. Actually, I'm going to put those on a cooling rack. There we go. We have fantastic little heart-shaped spicy curry pastries. All right, I'm gonna move some stuff out of the way so that we can start assembling a tea tray. Again, stuff to become bread pudding later. Put my cookie cutters in the sink. There we go. Yeah, I guess those won't become scraps later. Okay. Just gonna kind of put these all on here so we can see them all in the same place. There we go. Ta-da! Can't wait for the in-person meets to be a thing again so we can make these for our friends. Yes. Oh my goodness, yes. Oh, I miss cooking for people other than myself. I've been doing some cooking where I can, you know, bake things and then leave things on people's doorsteps, but it's not quite the same. All right. So, more for me. All right. So now that we have our tasty pastry curry puffs and our tea sandwiches, let's go ahead and put together an actual afternoon tea tray. That. So, all right. So I have one of these really neat things, which I got on Amazon, and basically a three-tiered plate holder, which holds a dessert-sized plate in each tier. So we're going to use that. And some plates. And we're going to put together 3 tiers worth of yummy goodness. So starting with our Savories tier, right off the bat, we have snack can. We have our curry puff. We have our prosciutto rose tea sandwich. But we need more than that. We could do 2 of each of those, or we could get even more variety in here. And so I actually cooked up some things earlier. Get those out. And turn off the oven. Set up later. Okay. Okay, so here we go. One of the things I really like to do is find find neat things in freezer um, in the fancy appetizer section of the freezer. And so here I have from good old Costco. Oh, come on. So from good old Costco, we have a couple of, got some mini quiches, which are super easy to cook up bake up in the oven. So and put one of those on there. From Trader Joe's, I've got these neat little pastry puffs, which have some cheese and some caramelized onions, which I've never been able to get quite right myself, so I just get these and they're delicious. Let me show you what that box looks like. So that's these pastry bites. That's going to be a mess. And the other thing I like to have on my Savories tier is a little bit of something very obviously veggie. So like a salad. And so I have kind of going for a very berry theme because it just fits with the with the whole aesthetic of the theme of the weekend. So I found this really lovely strawberry harvest chopped salad kit. Plonk. So I'm going to make that up real quick. And the nice thing about this particular type of kit is that it's actually like, it's not lettuce, it's like cabbage and kale and carrots and things that all are very hearty and don't wilt quickly in the freezer once they're mixed up. So this will actually be good for a few days. Where did the scissors go? There they are. So these are super easy. Ta-da. And then the nice thing about these is then it's easy to, they're easy to eat with a small fork or a spoon. And it's just got everything you need. So we got the veggie blend. And it looks good. We got some crunchies, which I think includes, looks like it's got some almonds and some crispy quinoa or something. Got a little bit of, just a little bit of feta cheese. And their strawberry vinaigrette already mixed up there. Kitchen shears are your best friend. And just that in there. And then cue the terrible puns about mixing salad. Yeah. There we go. Get that dressing nice and combined in there. Thank you for the follow. And then we're just going to put a little bit of that. Really? Fine then, be that way. There. Load that into a nice little dish. There we go. I'm just going to eat some of that later. That's good stuff. And then I'm going to put an actual strawberry in there because we can. Okay, fine. And there's probably ways to do this. I know there are ways to do this that would make it into a like really pretty rose or something, but even just a simple vertical cut to kind of fan it out a little bit and just make it a little extra fancy. And you can always use more strawberries, yes. Okay. So there we go. Now let's see here. And you just kind of arrange things on the plate. And I'm going to put our two fancy things kind of front and center. I'm going to put those a little off to the side since we didn't make those, but there we go. And there's our Savories tier. Savories tier. So we've got a good little balance. We've got veggies, we've got pastry, we've got sandwiches. So that'll go there. And our next tier is our breads. And what I have here is I've got a traditional cream scone that I made up myself. If I were actually doing this, like doing this right before the tea party or the social mixer, I would actually toss these guys in the toaster oven for a few minutes to toast them up and make them all nice and pretty. So this is a traditional cream scone that I made, and then this is from. So the neat thing about St. James Tea Room is that they actually will sell their scones and their breads separately, like so you can get them to go home. And this month they're doing their La Vie en Rose Paris French themed, which has lots of berries and roses and everything. And so this is one of their rose almond scones. They are absolutely delicious. And so I got a 4-pack of the frozen scones that I could then bake up myself. So that's what we've got on our bread plate. And then we also want some cream, some clotted cream and some curd to go with that. Let's see here. Yeah, that'll work. So we have clotted cream, also from St. James, though I have figured out how to make my own in the Instant Pot, which is fantastic. On time? Yeah, we're good. So that, and then their curd this month is a pomegranate rose curd. It smells amazing. How do you make clotted cream? It's I have a video up on my YouTube channel, but if you search for Instant Pot clotted cream, it's actually easy. It just takes a day or two. It's basic, yeah, pomegranate rose. It smells amazing and is going to be just absolutely delectable on these. So I'm going to just scoop a little bit. Just for the look, we're going to scoop just a little bit of this out onto there. Tactical error. I'm the only one eating this anyway. So there we go. We've got our nice but yeah, to make the clotted cream, it's actually really easy. It requires the heavy cream that is not ultra pasteurized, so just the regular pasteurized. And the only place I've found it easily is Trader Joe's. Thank you for the link. Excuse me. There may be some flashing, some lights issues with that. I need to figure it. I need to take another look at it. But but you just put a bottle of heavy cream in an Instant Pot, put it on the like yogurt setting overnight, and let it do its thing, and then you put it in the and then you put the pot in the fridge for the day, or cook for during the day in the fridge overnight, and then scrape off the literally clotted cream off the top of the because it'll separate out all that good fat from the curds and whey. I know we all hate the Little Miss Muffet comparison, but that's what it is. And then you can use the leftover liquid from the clotted cream to make your scones. Works really nicely. So there's our bread tier. Ta-da! Yes, Instant Pots are magical. I love mine. All right, and now for our sweets tier. This is not going to be complete tonight because I'm really looking forward to the sweet panel tomorrow with EGL treats, and I'm definitely looking forward to making some of those little love letter hand pies. Those look amazing. But for right now, I do have a few things I can put on here. So again, in keeping with the theme, I had a lot of fun doing things with roses. So I have let's see if I can. No, I can't easily get to it. I have a Nordic ware. I have a couple of Nordic ware pans that I just really I really enjoy using, and this one has a lot of small tea cake things. And so what I made these are strawberry spice. No, not mooncakes. I mean, I guess they kind of look like them, but no, they are strawberry rose spice tea cakes. And so, like that one, the rose shaped mold didn't come out quite as nicely, but the heart shaped one did. And then I did and then for the glaze on top, I did rose water and confectioner's sugar instead of just regular water and confectioner's sugar. So let's put a couple of those on there. And then my other favorite Nordic ware pan is my skull-shaped pan, which I made brownies this time. So I'm going to do a brownie. Do a skull-shaped brownie. and I'd gotten some icing and things to put on that, but I didn't actually take time to do that. So it's just gonna look, it's just gonna be there, but we'll accessorize it with some more berries because we can. There we go. And the other awesome thing that I got from another really neat, yeah, Gothic Lolita Valentine's food equals anatomically correct heart treats. Yes. Which I mean, that strawberry's kind of close, right? Yeah, that kind of works. Anyway, another really neat local business called Sweet Cup here in Albuquerque, and they have macarons. So I got a selection. I think that one's, I think the cutie pie one is a lavender. This one actually is rose, so I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save that for Sunday. We got I think that one's like a, I don't remember what that one was. We'll put it on there and find out. I think it's some kind of berry. Anyway, and then we got a red velvet, and I think this one was blackberry. So there we go. And again, thematically appropriate. Sweets. And so there is, there is our whole tea tray. Let me see. Just pick up the snacks can. There we go. Ta-da! Tower of treats. Yes. And portable and easy to carry carefully to the table. All right. There we go. Now I get to put everything away. So yeah, let's see. So yeah, some ideas for going from, let me put the presentation back up on the screen. There we go. So some ideas for going from basic to fancy. Again, the frozen fancy appetizers are super easy. You can bake them the same time as your scones and pastries. Yay! Oh, I'm so glad. The salad kits are easy. You can use cookie cutters to turn things into fancy shapes. Get some of the desserts desserts that come in the little cups, little glass cups, and then you can save and reuse the glasses. And that's like my favorite little trick. It also then that gives you neat things that you can put your delicious salads and whatever in. For making like an egg or chicken salad sandwich, mini croissants are great for that, and often you can find them already baked, so you don't have to worry about trying to make them. Garnish with fresh fruit or a sprig of whatever herb you've been using for your recipes, and then all of this can be prepared and baked in advance, and then all you have to do is either you can like for the I should have tea. I should drink. So a lot of these things, like the scones and the pastry puffs, you can just make them up without baking them and just uh, freeze them before you bake them. And then when you bake them, they are nice and fresh, and that actually, in both in the scones and in the puff pastry, helps helps the butter that's in that's in the batter, can kind of freeze up and do its, and so it actually makes them turn out really nice and flaky when you make them up. Um, but any of these you can bake up in advance and then just throw them in the toaster oven or in like a 400-degree oven for like 5 minutes, just to heat them up and get them nice and toasty and crispy. The tea sandwiches, obviously you don't want to do that because they will melt. But for that, you can keep them in an airtight container in the fridge for up to a week. And if you put a piece of, if you put a moist paper towel in the bottom, that'll help the bread to not get stale. And so again, they turn out, if you take them out about a half an hour before you're actually wanting to serve them, to let them kind of come up to room temperature, they work very nicely like that. And presentation. So you can, if you don't have a tea tray frame like this, another thing you can do is actually put, like, let's see here. I don't have any. No. Yeah. Anyway, you can. Yes, I can demonstrate this one. Let's do these. So what you could do is have a plate, and then you probably want a bigger glass than that, but you get the idea. There we go. Plate, glass, another plate, and there you have a tray. And then you want to take a picture of each tier, take a picture of the whole thing together and then get a picture of your whole setup with your skeletal friend. Her name's Bonita, by the way. Is it the table setup competitions at the county fair? Oh my goodness. Wow, okay. That's neat. Yes, plate hack. Hi, Bonita. I'll go get her in a second. We're actually about out of time. So let me, leftovers. Yeah, we already discussed the leftovers. And there we go. All right. Just gonna go ahead and do. There we go. All right. So do we have any questions? We have a little time for questions. Tiny bit of time. There will be a panel feedback survey, the link in the chat. Please fill that out. That's how I knew Snack Cam was popular and was requested to come back. And we'll definitely do that again. And don't forget to enter the charity drawing for the Transgender Law Center if you haven't already. You can either do a donation or you can share the awareness slide from Bay Area Kei's Instagram. And our next, vice around. Oh, asking people beforehand about allergies and preferences, that is a very good thing to check on when you are, especially when you're not just cooking for yourself. Um, and I will actually just straight up ask, you know, are there any ingredients that I need to avoid for you? Um, if you're not familiar with like vegan ingredients, um, you can always ask if they have suggestions, like I did about the prosciutto. Um, yeah, and yeah, I think it 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 can feel weird, but I think if you're I think I feel like the I feel like asking about that shows that you are considerate, and that you are uh, keeping in mind, um, you know, your the fact that you love your friends and you want them to be happy, and that part of that includes not making them ill by what you've made them by the delicious treats that you've made them to eat. I have a friend who has who has a lot of allergies, including gluten free, but also specifically in such a way as, yeah, approach it as a medical concern. I want you to be I want to make something that you can enjoy that will not harm you. Um, my vegan and gluten free friends are all very open and helpful about their food restrictions when I have questions for them. Yeah, that's what I found as well. And so if I'm making something uh, for friends that I know have, or you know, for friends in general, I will say, hey, do you need gluten free? Are there any other ingredients that I should be avoiding? I have one friend who I have to use a very specific gluten free one-to-one flour because she also can't have like potato and soy. So I have to find specific ingredients. But there's so many really good options for ingredient substitutions now because we're more aware of this, and it's amazing. So, or you know, spending some time browsing through the meat alternative section at like Sprouts or Trader Joe's, or I hesitate to say Whole Foods because whole paycheck, but Sprouts or Trader Joe's, yeah, if you've got them, I hope you do. Um, yeah, so you know, if you're cooking for yourself, that's one thing, and you know what you need, hopefully. Um, and if you're cooking for others, yeah, it's super easy to say, hey, I want to make you something delicious, and I want you to be able to enjoy it. Is there anything that I need to be aware of? And usually people will be very forthcoming and very helpful with letting you know. For real, whole paycheck. Avoid them. Anyway, um, I think, yes, we're now over time. So our next panel this evening is creating out of the box J fashion media with the creators of OK Podcast. That looks really interesting. Looking forward to that one. And tomorrow morning, we've got two more panels for making delicious treats, starting with Royal Ruby Antique Sodas and Sundays with Jason from, um, oh man, I didn't put it in my notes. Finery, Blackbird Finery. Love them. Um, and that is super early in the morning at 7 a.m. Pacific, 8 a.m. my time. I'm not sure I'm going to get up for that, but I'll at least catch the VOD. And then at 10 a.m. Pacific is the EGL Treats Patisserie. I am going to mess this up. Patisserie Romantique at 10 a.m. Pacific, and they're making tarts and looks like chocolate tarts, and then the love letter hand pies, and I'm really looking forward to that. So thank you all for coming and enjoying, and I hope you make some delicious savory noms. And please do fill out the panel feedback and enjoy the rest of the panels and the fashion walk and the Gâteau à Chateau DIY showcase tomorrow night. And hopefully I'll see you at the social mixer. Thank you. Yay. And I'm going to start cleaning up. Thank you for the follow. I'm just getting started out, so if you want to find out more, please do follow, and I'll be doing more recipes and demonstrations, and probably playing some games at some point. Anyway, thank you.